Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready to go deep on Ganesha Ecosphere Ltd's Q3 2024 financials.
Always ready for a good financial deep dive.
We're looking at their reports and investor presentations, hot off the press, February 1st, 2025. So let's see what they're up to.
Should be interesting. Ganesha Ecosphere is a big name in the world of recycled PE. They turn plastic bottles into just about anything you can think of.
Fibers for clothing.
Food-grade packaging.
Exactly. It's amazing what they're doing. And what's really cool about this deep dive is they're publicly traded.
Right, so we get to see how their sustainability mission is playing out in the real world, how it's translating into business growth.
Let's jump right in. First up, the financial snapshot. Their consolidated earnings per share, or EPS, are looking pretty impressive.
Definitely some strong growth there.
But here's where things get interesting. The standalone EPS for the parent company actually went down year on year. What do you make of that?
That's a good question. It could be that their recent acquisitions are driving that overall growth.
While the core business is facing some headwinds.
Could be. Like a ship with a powerful engine but a little leak in the hull. Need to see if they can patch things up.
Okay, so we've got to keep an eye on that. Now, revenue is definitely up across the board.
Which tells us there's strong demand for their products.
For sure. But then we get to EBITDA earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. And it's a bit of a mixed bag.
Yeah, consolidated EBITDA is soaring, but standalone is down.
Even a little bit compared to the last quarter. Red flag.
Possibly. The investor presentation does mention rising raw material costs.
Makes sense. Competition for used plastic is heating up.
Exactly. But to get the full picture, we need to dive deeper into those cost breakdowns in the full report.
Duly noted. One thing that really stood out to me was the increase in production and sales volume. They're clearly walking the walk when it comes to sustainability.
Absolutely. They're not just talking about it, they're making and selling more recycled products.
And their Warrangal facility in India is running at over 75% capacity for RPE granules and over 90% for RPSF lines. That's impressive.
It is. And they've also installed over 5 megawatts peak of rooftop solar at that facility.
MWP megawatts peak.
Yes, the maximum power output. It shows they're putting their money where their mouth is when it comes to clean energy.
I like that. Speaking of operations, I noticed their subsidiary EBITDA is now exceeding the legacy businesses. What's the story there?
That's a great observation. Could it be that those new ventures are becoming even more profitable than their original core business?
That's what I was wondering.
It's a bit early to say for sure, but it's definitely something to watch.
All right, adding that to the list of things to keep an eye on. Oh, another thing. They formed a joint venture back in September 2024. No financial impact showing up yet, but it looks like they're looking to expand.
That they are. The joint venture is called Ganesha Recycling Chain, Private Limited, formed with Race Eco Chain Limited. Interesting to see what they do with it.
Definitely. Okay, let's shift gears and talk about their Go Rewise brand.
Yeah.
They're really trying to elevate recycled plastic beyond just a commodity.
It's about selling a lifestyle, a greener future.
Absolutely. And they've got specific product lines for different sectors: bottle-grade chips, textile-grade chips, fibers, yarns, the whole works.
And according to their investor presentation, they recycled over 7.5 billion bottles in fiscal year 2024 alone.
That's a lot of plastic diverted from landfills. Got to give them props for that.
Impressive scale of operation, for sure.
But it's not all sunshine and roses, right? Those rising raw material prices are a real challenge.
True. It's a classic problem for businesses working with recycled materials.
The price of those used plastic bottles keeps going up, and Ganesha has to figure out how to manage that without sacrificing their bottom line.
Right. And it seems they're trying to do that by shifting their product mix,
Mm-hmm.
moving away from some of the lower margin RPSF products and focusing on more specialized applications.
Do you think that'll work?
It's a solid strategy. We'll have to see how it plays out in their future reports.
Okay, last thing before we move on. They reported a 40% jump in exports this quarter. That's 45.5 crore. Where are they sending all this recycled PET?
Unfortunately, the reports don't give us a specific breakdown of export destinations. But that growth is a clear sign that demand for recycled PET is increasing globally.
It's a trend we're seeing across industries.
And it definitely aligns with Ganesha's goal of becoming a global leader in recycled plastics.
Ambitious. All right, so we've got the financial picture, the strategic moves, and a glimpse into the challenges and opportunities Ganesha is facing. But what really struck me is this tightrope walk they're doing between sustainability and profitability.
That's the big question for any company in this space.
Yeah.
How do you balance purpose and profit?
They talk a big game about a greener future, but they still need to sell those recycled products to stay afloat. Is that a contradiction?
It's the million-dollar question. And Ganesha's journey provides a really interesting case study.
It's definitely food for thought. Stay tuned, folks, because in the next part of this deep dive, we'll be taking a closer look at their financial performance, breaking down the numbers, and exploring what they reveal about their operational efficiency.
All right, welcome back. Ready to get into the nitty-gritty of Ganesha Ecosphere's financial performance?
Let's do it. I love digging into the numbers. Where do we start?
Well, let's unpack those consolidated numbers first. For Q3 of fiscal year 2025, their revenue from operations hits 397.8 crore.
Okay, that's a big jump from the 284.83 crore they earned during the same period last year.
It is. And their profit before tax was a cool 36.92 crore.
So we're seeing some serious growth here, but remember, this consolidated view includes all their subsidiaries.
Exactly. Ganesha Ecoped, Ganesha Ecotech, Ganesha, overseas in Nepal, even the Ganesha Employees Welfare Trust. It's the whole ecosystem.
So to really understand how the core parent company is doing, we need to look at the standalone figures.
Right. And there we see revenue from operations at 268.02 crore for Q3, up from 245.75 crore last year.
Yeah.
And their profit before tax for this quarter comes in at 24.72 crore.
So it's a smaller increase compared to those consolidated numbers. Really highlights how much those subsidiaries are contributing.
It does. Remember how we talked about their subsidiary EBITDA now exceeding the legacy business? This is where it shows up in the actual figures. Seems like those strategic investments in new ventures are really paying off.
Okay, let's zoom out a bit and look at the 9-month performance. Consolidated revenue from operations was a substantial 1,121.16 crore, profit before tax 103 crore. They're on a roll.
Consistent growth over 9 months is definitely a good sign. They've maintained that momentum, riding the wave of increasing demand for recycled PET.
And how did the standalone figures look over those 9 months?
Revenue from operations came in at 767.43 crore, with a profit before tax of 80.05 crore. Solid performance.
So those subsidiaries are really making a difference, but let's not forget about their core operations. What's happening with their production volume?
Looking at the standalone figures for Q3, they produced 29,916 metric tons, just slightly up from last year. But here's the interesting part. Their sales volume hit 29,496 metric tons.
So they're not just making it, they're moving it.
Exactly. And remember, they have a really diverse product portfolio. RPET, fiber RPE spun yarn, even dope-dyed fiber.
Dope-dyed fiber? What's that?
Basically, they add the color to the fiber during the manufacturing process. Instead of dyeing the finished fabric, saves water and energy.
Ah, so it's like baking a chocolate chip cookie. You add the chips in the dough, not sprinkle them on after. Very clever.
Right. Much more efficient. And all this isn't just staying in India either. They have a growing global client base.
Over 400 customers in more than 20 countries, according to their presentation.
Exactly. Global reach, diverse product lines, and a commitment to sustainability. They're hitting all the right notes, but what has allowed them to get to this point?
Yeah. What are their key strengths?
Well, experience, for one. They've been in the PET recycling game for over 3 decades.
So they were recycling plastic before it was cool.
They were. And they've built up a wealth of knowledge and expertise along the way. Another strength is their strong client relationships. They've partnered with some major brands globally.
Helping those companies meet their own sustainability goals.
Exactly. A win-win for everyone. And of course, we can't forget about that diverse product portfolio. Allows them to adapt to changing market trends and meet different needs.
So they've built a solid foundation. But we've got to talk about the challenges, too. Those rising raw material prices are a real concern.
Definitely. It's a reminder that even companies with the best sustainability practices are still at the mercy of the market.
Seems like Ganesha is trying to mitigate that risk by shifting their product mix.
Moving away from lower margin RPSF products toward higher value offerings.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Especially with that intensifying competition for used plastic.
Right. And they're also investing in expanding their manufacturing capacity.
6 facilities across India and Nepal, and planning more expansions in the coming year. They're not messing around.
It's clear they're committed to growth. They're playing the long game.
Okay, enough numbers for now. I want to talk strategy. How are they planning to achieve those ambitious goals? What's their playbook?
Well, they're focusing on several key areas. First, they're doubling down on high-value products, leveraging the potential of their Go Rewise brand. Developing new products in other plastic types, HDPE, LDPE, even PVC.
So they're not putting all their eggs in one basket.
Nope. Smart move. They're also actively strengthening those client relationships, forging partnerships with major brands to become their go-to supplier for sustainable materials.
Building a symbiotic relationship, those brands get to boost their eco-credentials, and Ganesha gains a loyal customer base.
Exactly. And they're also diversifying into new segments, increasing their market share in technical textiles and household textiles.
So they're targeting multiple markets and product segments, a multi-pronged approach. What about their global ambitions? How do they plan to become a global leader?
They're putting themselves out there, attending international events and exhibitions, making connections.
Not waiting for the world to come to them, they're going out and making it happen. It's impressive to see a company with such a clear vision. But how are they actually making all this happen sustainably? What are they doing to minimize their environmental impact?
It's not just talk, they're walking the walk. They're shifting towards clean, renewable energy.
Those rooftop solar installations we talked about?
Exactly. Powering their operations with sunshine.
Yeah.
And they've also implemented serious water conservation measures. Their Warrego facility is designed to recycle 90% of the water it needs.
That's huge. What about waste reduction?
Zero discharge policy at their Warrego facility. Nothing released into the environment. They're closing the loop.
Wow, they're really going above and beyond, and their whole business model is based on a circular economy.
Right. They're not just reducing their own footprint. They're creating a system where used plastic bottles become valuable resources again and again.
Turning trash into treasure. Okay, let's talk more about this Go Rewise brand. It feels like more than just a product line, it's a statement.
It is. They're positioning recycled plastic as aspirational, appealing to consumers who care about their impact.
It's about buying into a greener future, not just buying a product.
Exactly. And their Go Rewise offerings include RPE chips, fibers, yarns, all sourced from recycled PE bottles, targeting the packaging and textile industries.
Showing how versatile these materials can be.
And they're not skimping on quality either. Stringent quality checks on every Go Rewise product according to their presentation.
That's important for building trust with consumers who want sustainable options without sacrificing quality.
Absolutely. All right, so we've covered their financials, their operations, their sustainability initiatives, and their new brand. What's next?
You'll have to stay tuned to find out. There's still more to uncover in this fascinating world of Ganesha Ecosphere. Okay, we're back for the final part of our Ganesha Ecosphere deep dive. We've crunched the numbers, we've looked at their strategies, but I always love those little details that really bring a company's story to life. What else have you got for me?
Well, you know how we've been talking about their commitment to a circular economy. It's not just a recent thing for them. Their roots go way back.
Oh.
Yeah. They were founded in 1987 by a Mr. Shyam S. Sharma. Initially, they focused on recycled polyester staple fiber.
RPSF.
Exactly. So they were early adopters in the recycled textiles world.
Wow. Talk about being ahead of the curve.
Right. And over the years, they've expanded their product lines, added dyed yarn, recycled spun yarn, and more recently, those RPT chips and filament yarn we talked about.
It's like they've grown and evolved along with the entire sustainability movement.
They have. And their investor presentation really emphasizes that all those years of experience, they talk about their cutting-edge technologies for recycled PT bottles.
They even have their own in-house research and development capabilities, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
They're not just relying on existing methods. They're actively pushing the boundaries. And they've got the certifications to prove it.
Oh, yeah. Tell me more.
Their manufacturing units have achieved a whole bunch of quality and sustainability certifications.
Like,
Well, there's the Global Recycled Standard GRS and OECO Tex. That's a leading ecological standard for textiles.
so they're not just saying they're producing high-quality recycled products. They've got the credentials to back it up.
Exactly. And remember their Warrego facility, the one with all that impressive production capacity.
Yeah.
It has additional approvals for food-grade applications.
You mean they can produce RPET chips that meet those strict safety standards for food packaging?
That's right.
Wow, so they're not just making clothes and carpets, they're helping to make the food industry more sustainable, too.
It's all part of their vision for a circular economy,
Yeah.
giving those plastic bottles multiple lives.
Minimizing waste and maximizing resource use.
Yeah.
Love it. What about the founder, Mr. Shyam S. Sharma? Is he still involved with the company after all these years?
He is. He's listed as the chairman of the board of directors in the reports.
So he's still guiding the company, making sure they stay true to their mission?
Seems like
That's so inspiring. It's not every day you see a company stay committed to its values for so long, and it proves that you can be profitable and purpose-driven.
absolutely. It's about finding that balance, doing good and doing well.
I'm starting to see why you're so interested in this company. They're not just about numbers, they're making a real difference.
And they're doing it in a smart way, thinking long term.
Mm.
They're not just reacting to trends, they're shaping the industry.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one thing you want our listeners to take away from all this?
I think the biggest takeaway is that sustainability isn't just a buzzword. It can be a real driver of innovation and growth. Ganesha Ecosphere is a perfect example of that.
They're not just selling recycled products, they're selling a vision for a better future.
And that's a story worth telling.
Absolutely. Their journey is an inspiration to other businesses. It shows that it's possible to succeed while making a positive impact on the world.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So if you're looking for a company that's truly walking the talk on sustainability, Ganesha Ecosphere is definitely one to watch. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone.
It's been a pleasure.
And as always, we encourage you to check out these reports for yourselves. You can find the links in the show notes. Until next time, stay curious and keep learning.